Welcome back to Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. I'm Julie Grant, and your daily sidebar continues now. So in the case against Justin Ross Harris in the state of Georgia, the turning point in the investigation into little 22-month-old Cooper's death was in 2014 when law enforcement uncovered internet searches revealing some suspicious internet activity by Justin Ross Harris, as well as some evidence that Harris was carrying on extramarital affairs with multiple women behind his wife's back. Now, in the defense motion for a new trial, which is before the court right now, attorneys reference a sworn statement by a man named Detective Sean Murphy, claiming that Harris told a fellow detective during an interview that he researched child deaths inside vehicles and what temperature it needed to rise to in order for a death to occur. But the defense argues in this motion that Harris never, ever said that was a big fat lie. Instead, the defense is claiming that this man, Detective Phil Stoddard, the person who did the interview with Harris, told Murphy to exaggerate the evidence and fabricate some incriminating statements in the application for a search warrant. Well, today, on redirect examination, Max Kilgore, one of the defense attorneys the first time around, expanded on the accusation. Let's take a listen.
Has there been any benefit to find out where the false information that Detective Murphy provided to the magistrate? Was there any benefit to y'all in any theory of defense?
Of course. Absolutely.
As far as the source of it?
Absolutely.
Tell us how.
Well, we know that Detective Murphy gave false testimony to the magistrate under oath. Of course, the state's claiming that, he was just parroting something else that he had heard, so it couldn't be a lie because he was just testifying about something somebody else told him. Well, we know that he gave that false testimony to the magistrate immediately following Detective Stoddard's interview with Ross Harris. So, more than likely, one of two things happened. Either Murphy listened in on that interview or Stoddard
calls for speculation as to what took place.
Judge, I think he is, if I respond, I think he's explaining what his strategies are and what the decisions he made at trial, and I think this is part of it, is how they were deciding to proceed.
He didn't couch it as such. He's speaking as if it's fact, and it would be speculative, and I sustain the objection.
You'd mentioned something about the timing of the search warrants in your investigation of the case, the timing of the search warrants as to when the in custody interview of Ross Harris was. Does that tie into this?
Absolutely.
And again, explain how.
Well, we know that some of the search warrants were requested immediately following the interview with Ross Harris, and they contained references to the interview with Ross Harris. Those references contained statements which were false. They said that Ross Harris had stated, or Ross Harris had said, certain things that in fact he had not said and he had not stated. They were attributing false statements to him.
All right, Ted Rollins and Michael Ayala are still with me now. We have a couple minutes before we're going to near the top of the hour, so I want to just get your overall thoughts. Ted, your take so far on what we've seen, please.
I tell you, he seems to me, after watching this, and I know many people will disagree, people that watch this trial unfold, is he's not guilty. He did not do this. I don't think that there's a human being on this earth that would kill their own child in this disgusting manner. And his horrible behavior of texting these women, yeah, that actually helps him. Who would come up with this ridiculous plan to kill your child, having them just suffer and die over hours and hours, and then during that period, while your kid's dying, same kid you took to the baseball game, you're sexting your girlfriends. This isn't the guy. There is no person on the face of this earth that, in my opinion, that could pull that off, and certainly not this guy, because he is who he is. He's a horrible husband, horrible human being on many levels, but he didn't do this. And I'll tell you this, Julie, when my daughter was about a year old, I was driving in the car and I heard a little peep. It was my daughter. I had forgot she was in the back. It happens a lot.
Sure.
It's just your mind, and so for me, this is a no-brainer.
Right. You know, I've had a lot of people just approach me in our coverage of this and saying, hey, that's happened to me, not to the extent of, you know, this case, but it's certainly easy to understand how it can happen to good parents. And the one point I made the other day, and I want to make again, I think it's important, being a horrible spouse, you know, cheater, all that, and being a good dad, the two aren't mutually exclusive. Like, you can be both. And by all accounts, the testimony was that he was a good father. So just wanted to throw that out there.